Good evening. I'm Dean DeCrease of Festivore Design Works, a food industry consultancy, and I'm also Chief Governing Officer of Central Co-op. I'd like to thank the Institute for Systems Biology and the Seattle Culinary Institute for inviting me to talk with you tonight. We're living in the middle of what some call the Great Acceleration. This chart shows trends in things like population growth, carbon emissions, and the number of automobiles, as well as the decline in forest area and the number of species. Humans have been around for about 12,000 generations, but only recently, in the last 2 or 3 generations, has civilization made an impact on the Earth's operating system. Some geologists refer to the period since 1950 as the Anthropocene, the first geological epoch caused by humans. We bear a special responsibility in the 21st century. Many of us are asking ourselves, what can I do in my own life to contribute to a solution to this problem? How can I make a difference? There are many ways we can help. We can volunteer, we can recycle, we can vote with our wallets, changing the way we consume. In addition to these personal actions, there must also be systemic changes that we can make to move the needle. One example of thinking big is Nick Hanauer, the Seattle billionaire who's taking on economic inequity through a statewide ballot measures, creating policy change as a model for federal progress. Elon Musk has a grand scheme to address climate change by reducing carbon emissions. Defying the auto industry, his company is building an affordable electric car that's also beautiful and fun to drive. The Tesla Model 3 will be priced competitively with the Toyota Highlander, the most popular car in the US. But that's only a partial solution. Musk realized that much of the electricity powering the Tesla comes from fossil fuels. So Solar City took on the challenge of mainstreaming solar power by making solar installations affordable and attractive through innovative financing and product development. Another approach is to innovate on the economic system that got us here. I view this as a design challenge. The prevailing economy has brought us enormous prosperity, but tends to concentrate power among the wealthiest members of society in a $1 one vote system. The side effects are profound, from climate change and species loss to the growing wealth gap. Cooperative businesses are different. Unlike the $1 one vote system, the cooperative model means one member, one vote. While public companies are driven to maximize shareholder value, co-ops are incentivized to maximize benefits to their members and to their communities. The advantages for society at large include more local sourcing, community well-being, and greater wage equity. And businesses built on cooperation should be well suited to adapt to the new sharing economy, which is increasingly open source, peer-to-peer, or collaborative consumption. So how well do co-ops work? Worldwide, there are nearly 1 billion members of cooperatives and 100 million co-op workers. The cooperative economy represents $2 to $3 trillion of economic activity. There are co-ops in nearly every sector of the economy, from food and housing to insurance and utilities co-ops. Although co-ops are mission-driven, they're nonpartisan. They have no party or religious affiliation. Best of all, while co-ops are a great idea, they're not a new idea. Making change in Washington is harder than ever, but there's a well-established framework for cooperative law already in place in every state of the Union. Cooperatives are found wherever people live and work. There are about 30,000 of them in the US. And internationally, there are some spectacular examples of cooperatives with hundreds of thousands of workers becoming the driving force in their regional economies. So, cooperatives can work well, but there are challenges to the cooperative business model. Until now, there are few truly iconic companies that have emerged as cooperatives. Why aren't they thriving? A little history. Since the Rochdale pioneers established the first modern consumer co-op in Lancashire, England in 1844, there have been plenty of ups and downs. During the Industrial Revolution, many co-ops were established as a way to protect the interest of the less powerful members of society: workers, consumers, farmers, and producers. In the US, many early co-ops failed due to insufficient capital, poor management, or lack of understanding of the cooperative principles by their members. It wasn't until the early 1900s that co-ops began to thrive. The Great Depression and Roosevelt's New Deal spurred a second wave of growth of co-ops. But the 1950s post-war prosperity and Cold War fears led to the disappearance of many cooperatives. For grocery co-ops, the third wave of success arose in the 60s, 70s, and 80s with the growing demand for natural foods and wellness products. But today, many grocery co-ops are struggling, unprepared for the fierce competition from all sides as the natural foods market has become mainstream. In this new business environment, food co-ops face the challenge of becoming more competitive without compromising their principles. They must strengthen their business models, build more stable governance structures, embrace technology and innovation, empower workers, scale up, and produce more appealing products and services. At Central Co-op, a first step was to refresh our guiding principles. More on that in a moment. Recognizing the affordability gap for natural foods, we built the Central Basics program to make healthy, stable foods more accessible to all. That program has been picked up and enhanced by the industry and is now called Co-op Basics. In 2015, we implemented the highest entry-level wage and benefits package of any grocery in the U.S. We revisited our governing documents and revised them to offer ownership to our workers. The first conversion from a consumer food co-op to a worker-consumer solidarity co-op in the country. During that same period, we significantly improved business performance. Cooperative businesses are driven by their principles. The International Cooperative Alliance shepherds the 7 cooperative principles which motivate the practices of the 3 million co-ops worldwide. Central Co-op embraces these principles, but they haven't been updated since 1995. In 2015, we expanded upon them to create our own framework for cooperative business in the 21st century. The Central Co-op principles spell out our commitment to sustainability and to workers while highlighting the need for leadership and innovation. What's on the horizon? We believe that the benefits of cooperative business are more crucial to society now than ever, yet the challenges continue to mount. We have dedicated ourselves to growing our impact through relentless innovation.